Hey guys, Genesis is back here with another update here. So there are two things I'm gonna be doing in this video, and because it was kind of tedious, I cut out a lot of it. One was this back in Arma 2 and Arma 1. Arma 3 has it too. It's called the Dismiss Waypoint, and all it really does is it kind of you put AI on a Dismiss Waypoint, they go to it, they start wandering around the worlds and things like that. Number three, this exists, but it's for me feels really lackluster comparatively to Arma 2. At least I don't remember Arma 1 too well, but Arma 2, where they actually would sit and play some fancy animations on occasion. And I kind of wanted to take a break from working on vehicles and things like that to implement something from what I really appreciate about the attention to detail. So I created my own dismiss kind of waypoint behavior, and kind of like it. I ran into this bug. I need to do more testing, but I ran into this bug with vanilla AI using the dismiss waypoint, and at least using Zeus, I couldn't get them to move to any other waypoint after that waypoint, even after I deleted the waypoint. So I'm not sure if that's a bug with Vcom AI and or what. Actually, that was running vanilla AI, so I'm not sure. So I'll have to test with that later, but I wanted to do that. And also, what you see right now is I end up changing all this work that I'm doing because it just wasn't efficient, caused a bug. So I was trying to be fancy. So you have this get variable command here, and if you put the get variable command, usually the way I usually use it is unit get variable and in quotes, and just straight up variable. And then if the variable doesn't exist, I usually do an if is nil, the variable check, and then I set it to whatever I want it to. There's a method with get variable. If you put it in brackets and then you put the variable name like that I have in quotes there, and then a comma, and then the default quote unquote setting for that variable. A lot of these are false. Some you can see I have the dialog or the DAG tick time, things like that. And I thought, hey, I'll do this because it'll probably maybe it'll make it quicker and have less issues. Because I'm fixing a bug right now where if you go in and set some variables for some of the AI, some of them won't stick because this script will overwrite them. So I want to do a check going, okay, well, I want to get the variable of the unit because maybe in the editor it's already placed in the unit, or maybe a different script does it or whatever. And then if it doesn't exist, then I want you to set it to this. So I end up testing it, and it caused some weird issues. Like the AI would stop functioning appropriately, and yeah, it's just really weird. So what I ended up doing is I went back there and a couple of variables that the players could change or should change, quote unquote. I just did the regular if is nil check on that. So if the variable doesn't exist, then create it. But if it does exist, no need to touch it. It's already there. So that's what I'm doing here. You can see now I'm back to my loiter waypoint here, and that's where I find the bugs when I'm testing that. So I'm going to show off the loiter here. And you can see under loiter action, I have, and I'll get to it, three different things they can do in this video. I think I add a fourth thing they can do. And the loader actions are what they sound like. Random things AI will do random animations and things. And I didn't script me doing, or I did record me doing this part, and I chose to not even bother uploading it because it was, I know it's all coding and it can be incredibly boring, but it was mind-numbingly boring just for me to even make it. Like it took me, God, like 3 hours just to make this script because of the animation hunting I had to do. Arma changed, or Bohemia changed how the animations work or how they get called, certain ones, and how they mesh with each other. So I've had some weird issues where like animations would work on the player but not the AI and other things like that. So it was quite irritatingly boring and frustrating. So I didn't even bother uploading that. I did record it, didn't bother uploading it at all. So here I am just playing around here. Um, Adding another action where they just move a little bit and sit down. That's all I really wanted them to do. It doesn't work exactly like I want it to, but I think it works well enough that it's okay. and I'm just kind of fixing it up right now. So on the whole, Vcom AI is coming along very well. I'm actually getting to the point where I'm out of bugs to fix that I know of. I'm sure there will be more bugs. Usually when I release it, always bugs. I'm being more careful with the release this time around. Usually I release it like when I'm really tired and I just want to get it done and I need to hold off doing that and rushing it out because it's always like I either upload the wrong files or I forget a file or I upload the wrong version. Yeah, just this is terrible. So I actually made a mistake here. I thought the loiter command was the dismiss command for the longest time. And that's not true. It used to be, yeah, I thought it was the loiter command in Arma 2 because loitering to me sounds like what I would think in civilian life, loitering around. Um, but Arma 3 has a totally different meaning of it just tells a plane or aircraft to circle a point. So I had to make sure to change that to the dismiss and not loiter. Waypoint check. So I'm going ahead, I'm just comparing. What I do here is compare vanilla AI to Vcom AI with the script and see what you can tell Vcom AI right away by the change formations and move around a little bit. Okay, so you can see Vcom AI, the AI is split off and they all kind of move around. And the way I have it set up right now, it's not ideal, but they don't constantly move. They kind of just move around, stop, move, and stop, and they can slowly spread out and dissipate over time. And they do some actions. They may set up a campfire, they may do some push-ups, maybe they'll talk to one another, just things like that. And the vanilla, you can see they split off into subgroups. So they're technically still all a group, and they kind of wander around the area. They kind of just get random, I think it's just random do move waypoints to follow, and they kind of move around. You see Vcom AI repositioned there. They kind of reposition over time. You can see that these two are doing a little thing. These guys are doing some push-ups. It looks weird because it's so fast forwarded, but there's a campfire there. You can see this guy is doing some weird animations. It just helps it feel a little bit more alive. And so you can see on the left there that Vcom AI does split them up all into their own groups so I can move them around a little bit easier. But in not right now in the video because I have to fix it. But when they get into combat, they will regroup back up pretty quickly and then also start pathing like they would normally. So it also doesn't interrupt, I don't think much. You can see here it doesn't work quite as well. Doesn't matter because these AI just lay down, and this is where I figure out, well, the waypoints aren't working. Like those waypoints I'm giving, like I start assigning them waypoints. Like what? This isn't working right. Somehow that get variable trick I did just ruined the AI. I'm not sure what happened or how it happened, but it sure did. You can see here now I'm testing, like, will they even have waypoints? And I'm checking out some things, like something bug out, I don't understand. I'm checking some code. You can see that, oh, they're just fighting like normal vanilla AI now, for the most part. I'm checking the FSM system. I'm like, what's happening? Here I go into debug mode where, okay, this stuff, for me at least, is the most tedious and boring out of everything. Like it is just okay. What went wrong, and even in here I make a mistake, which is man, I make a lot of the silly mistake, and I don't catch this for a while because so I set it up the top right. I'm trying to pull the variable, and it keeps saying any in the top right. So to me, that any means it's undefined. That this variable I'm trying to pull is undefined, but in reality, the variable I'm pulling is called moved recently, and the variable assigned to that so I can test it is called, I call it moved recently, just underscore moved recently. You can see right there. But then the system chat or the hint format return, I do moved recently instead of moved recently. So it's dumbass move right there, but I eventually find it. Like, what the hell? And so this is whenever you're in Arma or any kind of coding, I suppose, and you get some weird results, you start scratching your head going, what the hell? I had that happen. Probably 9 times out of 10 your fault. Okay. Here I am thinking that maybe the issue I was having was because I was calling the get variable and set variable command way too much in a single script, which is possible. I actually wonder if that was the problem right there. So I'm doing another tedious thing of trying to, get all the variables and then set the variables. So I'm not setting, getting, setting, getting, setting. I'm just getting a bunch of variables and then setting them all at once. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't change a thing. Just, you just have to be willing to try a bunch of weird things sometimes with Arma or any kind of scripting just to see what kind of results you get. I'm grabbing something here real quick because I'm kind of cold. Alright. So, yep, still going. This is sometimes, I understand that the scripting whole is just not the most exciting thing to watch, that's for sure. So, after I get this up, I noticed that I had another mistake in there. I'm glad I caught that. I didn't need to have two of those variables getting checked. I go ahead and just redefine it in the script through RTSE so I don't have to restart. And I think I run a test here and it's still just, I think it ended up working, but, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time, you're going to see a lot of me spinning in circles here. And I was getting some poor frame rate for some odd reason for a lot longer than I should have. So I'm not sure why that is. And I attributed it to the script that I changed. Just the whole bunch of get variables and set variables just seemed to cause some issues. So I went ahead and just, yep, a lot of spinning. I can probably make a music video out of that. And I spent a lot in Arma because I know it's silly. I could just go off the frame rate in the top left, but sometimes the way I tell if I'm lagging or not is to spin in circles and see if the game chugs. And uh, I know where like my baseline is, so I spin in circles, and if it starts to chug after I added a script, I know that something bad's happening because it really puts a strain on the game. I do believe spinning in circles, having to render all that stuff and process code. So okay, so you can see here, I'm still having issues where the AI won't move. It's not moving. The AI for now they regrouped wonderfully now for being dismissed and all that, but they just won't move. So I was like, okay, I was testing some stuff in there in RTSE, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just, I was looking at it up, looked down. I was just like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and hold down Control Z, and I just undid everything. And I decided what I was gonna do is just the variables the players can change, do a check for that, and the variables that they really shouldn't change or doesn't matter if they change or that aren't set or whatever, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave those the same. So I go ahead and I do a couple checks here. So I pull the variable, and then I do it. If the variable doesn't exist or hasn't been set yet, then it'll set it. But if like the player already set the variable in the unit, then it will go ahead and uh, ignore it. And this also works for after, like say the unit spawns in and it'll set the variable, but then the player, say there's a script that sets the variable like after the script runs, then that's fine because it'll set it just how the player wants it. But it also won't overwrite it. The most important thing is to not overwrite it, whatever the mission maker sets up. So you can see here that out for it, and the waypoints suddenly work. Now I test now I'm testing the dismiss waypoint again. And so then they're not go back together again. So I'm like, oh, okay, something keeps breaking. So I load up this script here. And I go ahead and gets the private variables from Killzone Kids, awesome script there. I'm trying to figure out why this isn't working. So I think I try to optimize it. So what that script does essentially is each unit will get set to a variable that they are considered loitering, and then the group will spawn this script here, which will constantly be monitoring their waypoints. And if any of them get assigned a waypoint, then what will happen is that they will go ahead and regroup up. So this means not just combat, but any waypoint. So like say the mission maker assigns a waypoint to the group, it'll move them out, or the unit. It'll move the entire group back together into that location. So it's it should be, I'm thinking, flexible enough. I'm trying to imagine situations, and I just imagined one where maybe the group splits off in loiter command, and the player tries to command that group around, and then that group technically doesn't exist anymore. But maybe what I can do is every AI except the leader gets put in their own group, so therefore the group still exists. Maybe I can do that, so just in case missions that use the loader command, but want to keep the groups. Oh, the group name is the same. Maybe that will be the solution there. Maybe I'll go and do that. Yep, scripting is just all about finding little ways to make it work, like threading the needle. I'm just doing some more testing here. I had another issue here where I have the waypoint I have there is dismissed. The correct waypoint is dismiss. So this behavior here, I'm not sure why this is happening. I set the waypoint to dismissed, and right now with FSM, that means that nothing will change. Um, Nothing should be executed, but the AI is still just it just weren't working. And that's the bug I was talking about earlier. I wonder if that's a vanilla problem, but find out later. Or something else in Vcom AI makes it so the typical dismiss function doesn't work anyway, so good thing I wrote my own. Okay. So you can see they have a little campfire there, they're kind of chillaxing. Of course those campfires despawn after a certain amount of time. I just spawned in a group right in their face, and I realized I was a little bit too close to really fully test it. So I'm doing a little test here. I go ahead and have these guys break up into groups. I think I have an not for squad. Go to upset them here. And I believe they all return to groups quickly. And I see another bug here where you can see the groups on the left. Yep, they went ahead and reformed, but they don't get waypoints assigned. And so what I have to do is go in here because each one of them creates their own waypoints, and that's when it goes ahead and puts them back together. So I have to tell the script that to reset their waypoint variables so that the AI will actually execute proper waypoints and things like that. I'm saying that a lot today, things like that. I have a little bit of a headache, so I am not firing on all cylinders if you can't tell already. Okay, so I think here I actually set up a little scenario. I always like to do these, and maybe it's a little treat for people who stick it out to the end of these videos or skip. I don't really care what you do. It's your time, damn it. And if you're watching this, then damn, I applaud you. So, I'll talk about this scene right here, and I've actually changed it a little bit because this helps me really figure out what I need to do just for overall scenarios. So I have these two groups here. This one group, I believe. Yep, one group is just kind of chilling on the loiter command. I don't let them sit there for that long. I have them be attacked by Op 4. You can see they regroup, and there was one bug here that I'll need to fix where they all set up like 20 waypoints because they all were set to do that. I'm not sure why that happened actually, because the leader is supposed to be the one that does that. I'll double check that. At any rate, they responded well. The Hemet actually in the helicopter, I spawned them too close. I made them way too close, so they actually ended up dropping off their troops immediately. But the good thing here is that the troops evac'd properly. Well, not evac, so they attacked properly from that point. They have waypoints set up. I mean, I don't think they got there quick enough. I just went ahead and killed them. But they were working fairly well, and so I'm pretty happy about that. And I think I just need to tweak a couple things, and it's really getting close to being done. I feel I'm gonna keep messing with it, keep improving it, and then if I feel like there's not much to do, I'll go poke around on the forums and just release it. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Just another update video here. I hope to be releasing it soon, so you guys can get some more direct feedback from you guys. Thank you. Bye.